What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Dara for President back again with another video. And today I want to talk to you guys about something very very important to me. I lived in Canada for about 7 years, and when I was there, I had great times, I had bad times. I lived my life. But then, if I'm being honest, you guys, a lot of people are slandering me in the comments. A lot of people have been supportive. Let me also say this to the people that have been supporting me and wishing me well wishes. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys are making my transition move you guys are making my transition to move back a lot better. Thank you. I moved back. It's almost been a month. It's been about 3 weeks and a couple of days, and I've been getting back into the Nigerian society, been seeing friends, been going out, living the life of a 25-year-old. But something that I notice is the extreme poverty that I see in Nigeria. It's crazy how, in one breath, I can say that yes, people should come back home and moving abroad doesn't make sense. But on the other hand, every day I step out of my house, I see poor kids begging on the streets. I see people with less privilege. It's crazy. Like in Lekki, it's crazy because on one hand you can see a lot of poor kids, and on the other hand you see a lot of rich people driving G-Wagons all in the same place. And in my mind, I'm like, how is, like, it feels very dystopian. Like, now that I lived somewhere for 7 years and I come back, I'm like, wow, this is very, very strange. If I'm being honest, it breaks my heart that Nigerians feel the urge to have to leave their country. When I lived abroad, a lot of the people there were very ignorant about other countries because their countries are so good and well developed that they don't even have to care about the state of other countries. It doesn't matter to them because they live in first world countries. Maybe I have this bias towards Canada because there were times where I felt maybe less than, because I knew that my country was struggling due to the political leaders and just due to the economy and due to the infrastructure, due to the lack of opportunities. Maybe that's why I sound very biased, and maybe that's why I sound bitter. In fact, not maybe, that is why I sound bitter. I'm very happy to be back home, but in the same breath, I am extremely sad to be back home because I see the potential. Living in Canada was good. They have good infrastructure. They have a system that works. That's a country that, for the most part, it does work compared to Nigeria. They have rules and regulations. They do not have corruption. I come back home, and by the grace of God, I come from a privileged background, so I don't experience a lot of the things that you guys, experience. Like growing up, I grew up, pretty okay. Grew up pretty okay. My dad was a lawyer. In fact, I'll tell you guys this: my dad was Chief Laddie Rotimi Williams. My grandfather was the first senior advocate of Nigeria. So because of that, I will say that, like, my experience compared to the average Nigerian growing up, it's not the same. I went to one of the best secondary schools. I went to Green Springs. Someone left a comment today, and it really stuck with me. A lot of people have been insulting me and it's whatever, but then someone said, Dara for President, as you're talking about Canada, don't forget to talk about what's happening here in Nigeria in that same breath. A lot is happening in the country. Instead of you to use your little fame to encourage people to do the right thing, to come next year for election, you're busy talking about Canada. I don't give a flying fuck about Canada or Nigerians there. If they are tired, they should come back home. My only concern is the betterment of my dear country Nigeria and my people. That is to say, tell your people to vote wisely. We need change. You guys, the person that dropped that comment is extremely right. As much as everyone wants to japa and everyone wants to leave and everyone wants to, we should not feel this way about our country. Genuinely speaking, why do we have to feel the urge to go to another man's country? And I'm telling you that for the most part, they don't even want you in the country. They take you as a second-class citizen. But it's crazy how we would rather be second-class citizens in another man's country than wake up and develop our own country. It's a lot of things don't get to me, but then that one comment, and I've had hundreds of comments, over the last couple of days. I've had hundreds of people reach out to me concerning this Japa thing and leaving. But then I will say that, like, the fact that, like I said, the fact that we even feel the urge to want to leave, the fact that people are coming to bash me because I'm telling people that, Nigeria is a great place and we have potential, it's painful that a lot of people do not see that potential. And at the same time, I can't even blame people for not seeing that potential because, when you look outside, when you go outside, like it's different. Like the place that I'm staying in now, it's an Airbnb. The place that I'm potentially moving to, it's a house. Like the average Nigerian does not live that life. Versus living in Canada, because of like my life situation, and I'll probably get into that in another video, but because of the things that happened in my life, like losing my dad, and my dad was the main breadwinner, and then my siblings, taking over my income and things like that, it put me in a position where I was poor and I couldn't afford food sometimes. I couldn't afford some basic things. However, though, I can never compare the poverty that I faced to the poverty that Nigerians face here on a daily basis. It really put things into perspective for me. With that being said, if you're watching this video, I don't know where you are, be it America, be it Nigeria, where, please, we need to make the right decision. We need to vote right. We need to vote right. This coming election is the election that is going to make or break the entire nation. This upcoming election is the election that will decide if Nigeria is going to be, a nation, or if we're going to fall apart. I don't know where you guys stand politically. In fact, I will say this, I don't even have a voter's card myself. Like, I just came, Was I intending on voting? I wasn't, like, in my mind, like, I'm like, oh, whatever. But, however, though, coming back home has made me realize that I want this country to be better. I want this country to be better. 101%. It breaks my heart that, like I will always say this, Nigerians always feel the need to go somewhere else, But then it's crazy. Like, I've had people reach out to me. They tell me that they're in Canada and they're struggling in Canada, but they want to move to America. The people in the UK that are Nigerians tell me that they want to move to Canada, but no one wants to move back home because of the state of the country. And I totally understand. With that being said, when I get more settled in, I am going to get my voter's card. I'm going to vlog it as well. I'm going to do what I have to do to vote. I'm going to do my own little part. And, I want that to, urge you guys to please do your own little part in making our country better. I don't want to come across as insensitive to the people that are, because like I said, a lot of people are bashing me, and they're like, yeah, like I'm going to suffer when I come to Nigeria, and it's crazy because I understand that sentiment. By God's grace, I won't suffer. I don't want to suffer, but a lot of Nigerians are suffering. A lot of Nigerians are uneducated about what it is to leave the country and go to another man's country and suffer. Like, it's so bad that like Nigerians cannot believe that they can go to another man's country and suffer. Like, Nigeria is so much of a hellhole that suffering in another man's country is better than trying to make your country better. Who knows, man? They call me Dio for president. Who knows? Maybe I'll become the president. Because if I'm being honest, staying in Canada for 7 years made me realize that I love my country. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. The fact that I can go outside and I don't have to worry about the color of my skin. I can go outside and there's a lot of classism in the land, but then I'm not a classist person. I love everybody and I see everybody as a human being. But I can go outside and see my people, relate with my people. I can go outside and spark a conversation with anybody and they will be able to relate to me. In Canada, like, there were times where I couldn't have that. I couldn't have that. In fact, there were times where I would talk to the Nigerians that grew up in Canada and I couldn't even have I couldn't relate with them the way I relate with my people here. It's crazy. Sorry you guys, I went on a bit of a tangent, but then it breaks my heart that Nigerians have to. It breaks my heart that we feel the urge to leave our country, to go to another man's country, to go and live life and, do whatever because of, the state of our economy and our politicians. Please vote. Please vote. To the person that dropped that comment, thank you. It really moved me. But anyways, you guys, if you made it this far into the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm still going to make immigration content. And if I can make content about making Nigeria a better place, I will. But we'll see. I feel like my YouTube channel is taking a turn. The person also said that I'm doing this for views. Like, I mean, a lot of people have reached out to me, talking to me about their immigration struggles, and I'm not going to lie, a lot of it has touched my heart. I'm not going to stop talking about immigration, the things that people are facing all over the world, because the truth of the matter is, when you go abroad, you are treated as a second-class citizen, and the people of that nation do not want you in their country. They just want to extort you, have you running around in a rat race, paying rent, and having no ownership. I believe that success is having ownership of whatever it is that you want, be it a house, be it a car. They have you out there renting forever, taking loans and paying debts for the rest of your life, and I just don't believe in that for my people. Especially doing that in another man's land. It doesn't make any sense, But anyways, you guys, if you made it this far into the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And please get your voter's card if you can. If you have your voter's card, great. If anybody wants to put me through on how to get mine, please put me through. I'm going to do my research. And with that being said, thank you guys.